Welcome to the Top 10 Gardener with Master Gardener Ken Lain. Gardening can be challenging, but with Ken's tips, tricks, and top 10 advice, you'll reap huge rewards. Now welcome your garden host, Ken Lain.
And we are back with Lisa Lain in the studio. We give this segment completely to her. I try not to jump in or say anything so that we can get more garden tips, tricks, and advice, insider scoop on from a woman's perspective, my gal's perspective, another master gardener here at the Garden Center. Welcome back to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you. Good to be here. Beautiful day. Beautiful time to be in Prescott.
It's sunny.
And the surrounding areas.
Yeah. I call it the Central Highlands because it's Sedona is the same as Camp Verde, is the same as Cornville, the same as Skull Valley, Paulden, Prescott Valley. We're all kind of the same. So this advice just is good. Yeah. So the plants go here, the same planting technique. It's the same. So that's why I think the reason we have so many people from the other side of the Mingus Mountains, the Mingus Mountains, potato patch, is people are coming over to get Trader Joe's and Costco, and then they stop by the Garden Center to get tuned into the show. They get a poinsettia or whatever. How do I plant this tree? But the pine trees that grow here will grow there. The lilacs that grow here will grow there. The pansies, the tomatoes that they grow here, they grow there. And we're about the same zone, same season, same everything. Yep.
Very true.
So what kind of garden tips you got for us?
Well,
so share
last week we were talking about poinsettias, where they came from, how did they become a Christmas plant?
Yeah.
And we kind of briefly touched on Christmas cactus, but we didn't really hit on it too much. But one thing we did say, we were like, well, is Christmas cactus really a cactus?
And we said
no.
No.
But we were wrong.
Oh, really? It's a cactus.
Truly,
or what?
It's in the genus family of cacti.
There we go.
So it is technically a cactus.
Cool.
Which I did not know. No, it's not like a prickly pear. No, you can't grow it outside. It actually originates from the central coast mountains of Brazil.
Oh, there you go.
Amazonian.
Really?
So kind of high. It likes kind of the higher altitude forest areas where there's moisture. So they actually, in their native environment, grow kind of like almost like an air plant, where they're on trees. They grow on trees,
like an orchid,
right? Or on moist rocks. So they don't really put out roots into the soil in their native environment. They do here. We grow them in soil. But it truly is a cactus. So we learned something.
We did.
Yeah.
So did our listeners. See, that's the reason you tune in every week.
Right.
There we go. Been doing this for decades. We just passed our 650th upload to Podbean.
Really?
So to our podcast.
Cool.
And we're almost at 100,000 downloads. So it's like people are gaining traction. And we're starting to have other PR companies going, hey, they got something going on. We should go try to ask them for money. We can scale this for you. I don't care about going national. I only care about us here.
The Central Highlands.
It's just us in the Central Highlands. Yeah, there we go. Otherwise, it'd be work. This is just fun.
This is fun.
If you turn into work, it won't be as much fun.
So back to Christmas cactus.
Sorry.
Which truly is a cactus. So here like I said, inside. They don't need a lot of water. You water when the top inch or two is dry, then you get water on them. They don't want it to be constantly wet.
Once a week, once a month.
Going to depend on your home somewhat. Okay. So I hate to tell people a specific.
Twice a month?
Because some of it's the soil. I like to use the stick your finger in the soil test.
Oh, moisture meter. Yeah. Okay. Tools make gardening easy.
And if it's dry, you water it. Bright room. Definitely, but super easy to care for and live 50 years or more. I mean, there's Christmas cactuses that great grandma had, and they're super easy to take a slip off of and restart to propagate another one. So that's what a lot of families do. Someone has great grandmas and they all give slips to somebody and move them on, but super easy plant to grow. Little bit more of a challenge to try to get it back into color again. But there's actually, which we can discuss that later. That's kind of another part. But there are basically three kinds. There's the Thanksgiving cactus, which blooms at Thanksgiving. the Christmas cactus, which actually blooms at Christmas. And then there's an Easter cactus, which blooms in usually March to April, somewhere in there.
Are they different ones, or they actually naturally bloom at those times, or they program them to bloom?
They actually naturally bloom at those times.
Wow.
And a lot of so the question is now, and they think that the Thanksgiving and the Christmas cactus, they've interbred them so much, hybridized them, that they're kind of the same now. So the botanical is Schlumbergera.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah. Which is some guy's name who kind of found them in Paris. It's a whole long story. Kind of got boring, so I ignored it. But there's only maybe 16 actually varieties of Christmas cactus out there. So, but yeah, they just naturally bloom at different times of the year. They became
an autumn bloomer and a spring bloomer. Basically, there's two models.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So kind of like Heath or Heather. They have a spring and a fall.
Right. Yeah. Plus, they've kind of interbred them, and there's a lot they do to that. Became fairly popular in the 1800s is when they started becoming popular. And so there's basically kind of 3 stories as to why they're Christmas cactus. Because they're from Brazil, not so it's
hardcore Catholics and stuff down there. I don't know. It's
well, that's kind of what the stories are. So the first story is there was a young man in Brazil. He was in the jungle and it was just hot and it was humid. And he was praying to God that God would just kind of change the weather because he was just miserable, which who wouldn't be in the jungles?
Sounds like a Jonah the whale story or whatever.
So he was praying that, God would change that. And then on Christmas Day, he emerged from his hut and he looked out into the jungle and it was just full of flowering cacti.
Oh, that's neat.
So that's one story.
Okay.
Second story is
I was thinking red and white or bringing more into it. The color of Christ and all those religious symbols. That's good. Good. It's a good Brazilian story.
There you go.
I just want it to be nicer weather.
The second one is a Jesuit missionary in Bolivia. He was trying to teach the Bible to the villagers, but he was really struggling because they didn't trust him. They just didn't believe him. So he prayed, and then on Christmas Day, he prayed for guidance, trying, he wants to help people. And suddenly he heard singing in the back. And he's like, what's that? And they were singing a hymn that he had taught them. And then he turned around, and there were the village children bringing flowering cactus into the church to give to the baby Jesus.
Neat. That's kind of a neat one. Yeah, that's good.
So that's a good one.
They finally trusted him. And sang out loud.
And then it flowered.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then the third one, and this is probably more likely, is because they bloom around Christmas.
Oh, the science behind it is they bloom about then.
That's basically what the Illinois extension was basically. They're Christmas cactus because they bloom around Christmas. So that kind of makes sense too. But I like learning the different legends and
every plant has tremendous stories. And there's new ones being developed every year. We introduce at our spring open house. It's usually the weekend right before spring. We introduce a lot of the new things you'll never find anywhere else except here. We've grown them. It's a new. They're just being introduced here in this area at the spring open house. And so you see a new lilac that's maybe shorter or brighter or has a bigger forsythia, bigger flowers on it, something like that. So there's new ones and the people that developed those, that found them, that created that, propagated them, usually their names attached to it, and there's a story on how they found it. I know guys that go out there in Tibet between the 4,000 and 5,000 foot level. They just scour looking for new kinds of plants, and that's where this Christmas cactus came from. I'm sure they were scouring. Sounds like Bolivia and the Amazon, Brazil, and they found it and said, "Oh, we could grow that around Christmas. We'll call it a Christmas cactus." Well, thank you, Lisa. If you need a handout on how to make it bloom again, we have one of those here at the Garden Center, or get it yourself. Just go to watersgardencenter.com and type in the search bar, like Christmas cactus. It'll pop right up. So it's there to help you. All right. Throughout the week, Lisa and I, we camp out here at Waters Garden Center. If you want more garden history on all things holidays, last week is poinsettias. This week's it's Christmas cactus. Come visit us. Back after this.
Look, if your wife, mom, or dad wants an ugly sweater for Christmas, get them a sweater, not some piece of plastic.
But if someone you truly care about loves their garden, a gift card to Waters makes perfect sense.
Next spring, she can pick exactly what she was hoping.
We all know it's not the same as a huge flower basket or fragrant rose, but hey, it's winter. Gardeners understand.
Waters online gift cards are found at top10plants.com or at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain, owner of Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Join his daily podcast for timely garden advice seasonally right for the gardens. Ken can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center in Prescott or through his website at top10gardener.com.